Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Excuse me if I'm a little bit sniffly today. I'm pretty sure that the hay fever is really starting to kick in. It is a very quintessentially springtime here now. We are having warm, dry, blue sky, sunny days, and then in between those is lots of rain, and so the grass is growing like crazy, the flowers are growing like crazy, and that means lots and lots of pollen. So we did get some quite heavy rain, but in between that, it's been bookended by amazing, beautiful, sunny days, which has been great for drying yarn, which I will show you in a little bit. What I do have is, again, some more sheep news. Yep, they did it again. This time it was Vito. It seems like they all kind of take it in turns to do something a little bit wacky and annoying or whatever. So I was in here working and I just looked out the window and there was Vito in the dam paddock, just grazing away quite happily. He just looked up at me and then just went back down to his grass. I'm like, oh, dude, that's not good, because that paddock is fenced for cattle and it has a boundary with the road. So it is not the mesh that can stop the sheep from kind of getting through. Well, apparently the mesh doesn't stop the sheep from getting through either. But it's definitely not designed for the sheep at all, especially not my sheep. So I was in my slippers, as I do when I'm in the shed, and I just went out and had to try and get him back into the paddock. It was kind of at the intersection between the current paddock and the little bit that goes down towards the grass area. So I thought the best way was to open up the shed grass paddock gate and try and kind of corral him back in through there and then get him back into the main paddock with the other two. But I didn't want to like startle him because it's a really big area, and I thought if he decides that he doesn't want to come in, he's not going to want to come in, and it's going to be really hard to get him back, especially with all of that long grass out there for him to be able to enjoy, like smorgasbord, like buffet, all you can eat kind of thing. So the other two started to bar and be a bit silly. Now I did straight away know how he got out. I could see the wire was kind of bent up, so he'd obviously been able to push it with his horns enough that he was able to like slide underneath. What the other two do is they kind of go through a hole because their head can fit through, so they don't worry about the going under. But obviously he just went out under, and before he knew it, he was all the way out. So, um, so I got out, sort of stood between him and the expanse of the paddock, kind of hoping that he would just gradually make his way slowly down towards the corner close to the gate so that I could get him in. And he did do that. He kind of ate a little bit, kept going along. So he was sort of along the fence and I was in between him and the rest of the paddock. But I didn't want to startle him. And then he got quite close to the corner and I thought, I can't wait any longer, because if something, like if a noisy truck goes past or a bird flies overhead or something, like who knows, he could just like run in the other direction. So and he stopped and he kind of looked out over the whole expanse. I'm like, here we go, this is my opportunity. I cannot at this point wait, and just in case he just dashes off. So I got in round behind him and grabbed his horns and kind of pushed and steered him in. He was not happy. There was some grunting and some displeasure, and it did take a little bit. He's quite heavy, but I think it's probably better that it was him with the horns, because I'm not sure that I could have been able to do it with either of the others, because they're really big, heavy sheep without the handles, so to speak. So I steered him back in, and once his head was sort of inside the gate area, he went in, because he saw the others sort of looking at him through the fence the other way, and he was like, oh, maybe I should be back in here. So I was able to then get him in there. Then I let the other two in with him, shut them in there, so that I was then able to try and fix the fence issue. Feels like I'm turning into a full-time fencer at the moment. So I had to tighten the wires so that the mesh would not lift and that it kind of was like holding closer to the ground. Added some extra clips so that it was closer to those then tight wires, and then also put some staples at the end into the post. So they're like U-shaped kind of nails that hold wire in. So a few of those along the end, especially down really low, to tighten up that mesh so that there was no give along the bottom, so that couldn't happen again. While I was trying to do all that, Vito was then headbutting the fence in the other paddock, trying to do the exact same thing to get out again to the spot where he had just been free. So I had to kind of calm him down and distract him first before I was able to do that fencing, because I'm like, I'm going to be in the middle of doing some random thing with the fence and he's going to be out there again through the other fence. And I didn't want him to get the impression that he was then able to do that willy-nilly, you know? So it was a little bit of drama, and I have no pictures and no footage of any of this because I was doing it and Adam was off down cutting trees off the fence because it had been windy the week before. So it was literally just me and the sheep, and I only have some pictures of the fixed fences, which doesn't really give you an impression of anything much at all. So I'm wondering what else I'm going to have to do to these fences to keep my babies in. This weekend, I'm going to move them back into the little shed garden area and do another sweep of their main paddock and just check everything. Maybe put a few more staples and clips in a few spots. Check the tightening of the wire and see if it's still holding tight, whether it keeps loosening off. I'm thinking maybe there's a post or something that's moving a little bit that makes it loose. But I did have to tighten the wires quite a bit, and I think that tightening is going to make all of the difference. All right, now to what I've been spending the majority of my time on this week, and it's been fabulous because the sun has been out most days, so I have been able to get a lot of yarn dyed and dried. It's been perfect sunny drying weather apart from 1-2 days, so it's been really good. So I've got a lot of dyeing done this past week, plenty of colors to share with you, and I feel like I'm almost at the point that I am restocked enough for She's Crafty. I just need to now work out my stall setup for that. I'm thinking it'll be similar to what I did for the Pascoval Spinners and Weavers stall, but with a few slight adjustments, because you know that I like to change things up a little bit, change where the focus is and what yarns I have where based on what my stock levels are. So that'll be what I will be playing with probably in the next week, now that I feel that most of the dyeing is done, and then I'll be able to see where any gaps are and fill those gaps in the last week before the market. So let me share with you what I've dyed up this week, and it's quite a lot. So first, to all of the DK yarn that I dyed, I've done some aqua, some pure imagination, which I haven't dyed for a really long time, so this was fun to do, to the fudge room, and tequila sunrise, another summery colorway. So they're the batches that I've done on DK. I might be doing a little bit more DK yarn. I just have to get the display set up so I can see what it looks like. But I think I'm almost full in terms of the amount of DK that I'm going to be able to display. Then I've also done some more sock yarn. I did Pure Imagination on sock yarn as well. Some Sitting Pretty, which was inspired by this chair, and some more snozberries. If I do get time, I'll probably do some more of snozberries for sure, because I know that this is a really popular one. But I just wanted to get a few different variegated, brighter colors going for summer, to sort of complement my pastels and add some interest and some brightness to my stall. And just, it's starting to feel summery sometimes as I'm wearing a woolen jumper, but there's those as well. And I've also replenished my wispy stocks, my mohair silk yarn. I've done a batch. Oh, I just gave you a little preview there. I've done a batch of rose hip. As I was saying to someone the other weekend about this yarn, I feel like it's a little bit magic. It feels like it really captures the light inside it. And when you see it in person, you can see like the fuzz is one color, and then the silk bit here really almost feels like it's lit up from inside. It's really, really pretty. So I've got rose hip, and I still need to wind some aqua. You can see how shiny it is, and some mustard. Oh, and I also forgot that I did some to the fudge room on sock yarn as well, which also needs to be rewound. So they're the ones that have just finished drying. So I've done quite a lot this past week. Lots of colours that I have previously dyed and I've been bringing back, adding some more solids to the colours that I've been dyeing on the wispy base. So hopefully I'll have something that will excite you and entice you when you see me at the She's Crafty Yarny Day Out in Castlemaine on the 28th of October. At the moment, that is the last public market that I'll be doing for the year. So if you've been wanting to see my yarn in person and haven't had a chance yet, that will be the last time for this year. And then I will be working on my schedule for 2024. And when I have confirmed dates, they will be available on my website. Well, as I said, it is very quintessentially spring right now, and it is a cold grey morning. So I'm wearing my radiate jumper with the sort of mid-length sleeves, which is perfect for being over here in the shed and doing some work. I would be pulling my sleeves up anyway because once I get going, it's a little bit warm. So it is just perfect for that. I have talked about this jumper quite a lot before. I will leave a link below to my Ravelry page so that you can find the details for yourself. With all the yarn dyeing and the prep that goes in behind that, and dealing with my fabulous sheep, I honestly have not had a lot of knitting time, or felt like knitting even, to be really honest. My mojo is pretty low. In fact, I think my creativity this week has gone towards some rejigging of the house, sort of a little bit of spring cleaning instead of going into knitting. So when I've been not over here working, I've been sorting through some clothes and tidying up a little bit and changing some furniture around, rather than just sitting and knitting. That's fine. I'll get back into the creativity. But I have done a tiny little bit on my Coline jumper, the colorwork jumper that I've started. I'm using 2 colors as per the pattern. The grey brown is from Fairfield Finns, and the blue, which is not just blue, it's like purple and tonal, is from Owl of Athena. So I have literally done, it's like the start of a motif. It's really hard to see because it's all bunched up on my needles. I'm really enjoying it, and when I sit and do it, it is actually really quite relaxing. I have put markers in around each of the repeats, so I really don't have to think about it all that much. If it doesn't match up, I don't have anything really serious to rip back. It's just the few stitches from each repeat, so I can do it while I'm watching TV. I just have to be really careful with these single stitches in here, that I'm making sure that it's loose enough so that I'm catching enough floats along the way so that I've got a little bit of leeway in there so that those both sides of each stitch show up. Because I found the first single stitches that I did, only one leg is poking through. So I was going to go back and loosen it up a little bit, but I was like, it really doesn't matter that much. I'm going to be okay with it. I can play around a little bit when I am blocking it if I need to. There's definitely enough yarn at the back that they should be able to pop out properly, but I just haven't got it showing on the front just yet. But as you can see, I was really careful with some of these now and they're starting to come out. So that is all I have worked on in terms of knitting for this past week. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.